art of acting, which is understanding your scene and knowing your lines and knowing how to create chemistry and create emotion and sell emotion. That art taken aside, the hustle and grind which is required for acting is really intense because it takes a lot for you to get out there and become a movie star. Um, and people see the movie stars, but there's so many who don't end up becoming movie stars, right? And it's it's a very difficult game you are playing because there's people above you who are controlling everything, and there's big money involved, so there's obligations, there's power just production companies run, and you're under the pressure of not upsetting anyone because in the end everyone is friends. And
That's a big thing too, because like you're in constant like judgment. You have to constantly put yourself out there and perform. And you're in this fucking room and you've got to put yourself to such emotional extremes. I mean, in the job that we did for years, like we're constantly playing around with portraying emotion, and we've got to be on our feet and constantly talk and constantly think. But have you ever like sat there and run lines with someone?
No, no.
So because of the job, I used to think I've got a pretty good handle on my tonality and my emotion and portraying and conveying these things. And then I would go and run lines with an actress, and I would watch them do this to a degree that there would be some roles I'm looking at like, yeah, I could probably play this role, but a minute few that are kind of like in line with what my general personality is anyway. Watching them have to shift and adapt to, you're putting out 15 fucking auditions a week. You've got to constantly do these tapings, and you've got to be able to switch on a fucking dime. I mean, watching them and it's exhausting. And then you get to set, like you said earlier, and you've got to be there for fucking 12 hours constantly.
There's actors who are like in makeup chairs for 4 hours before the day begins.
Yeah.
Right. So if your filming day is going to be 8 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., which is the standard 12 and a half hour day, you're coming in at 4 o'clock in the morning to start to sit in your special effects makeup chair. Right. And then for 4 hours, you can't really move or do anything. You just sat there in a spot with people just buzzing around you like bees, attaching prosthetics, paint, makeup, XYZ. So,
and also the effort that goes in off screen, like the studying your lines, getting in touch with your character, especially if you're like a method actor or something, which is a whole nother ball of crazy.
I mean, the whole thing around method acting it's open to so many interpretations, and people really love it and people really dislike it, and some people think it's absolute bullshit, and some people think that you just have to be method.
What do you think?
To each their own, whatever makes you feel comfortable, because there's some actors who really like being the person and they want to be the character, and it helps them then just be that person because for them that's what they're trying to do. Whereas for some, they're so disjointed in terms of the character they're playing that they don't have to be method anywhere, but they're so good at their art that if I have to be sad right now, or if I have to deliver this line in a state of panic or excitement, they can just zone in. And that's what I find so fascinating about actors. Like, imagine the scene, right, where everything's falling apart and it's that last ditch moment where you have the heartbreaking speech. Now that heartbreaking speech is being filmed through 5 different setups, say 4 takes each, and a round of rehearsals and a round of camera rehearsals and a round for blocking, so that's 8 into 5, so that's 40 times.
Over what period of time is that typically happening?
I mean, it depends on the movie. It depends on what the scene is, what your production budget is, and like obviously there's so many variables which obviously affect that, right? But just like one of the fascinating scenes is Andrew Garfield smashing the keyboard in The Social Network when he walks up to Jesse Eisenberg, and they filmed that that shot 63 times.
Oh man, I'm
Okay,
surprised he didn't
just-
break his
Who's the
finger.
director for Social Network? Because I know the director for that movie has a reputation amongst all directors that he likes to take like 20 shots for each scene. So he has ample room instead of coming back.
So having 20 shots of a scene versus doing a particular shot 63 times are two different things.
No, so
David Fincher.
David Fincher. So I'm saying that he excessively takes extra shots. He's known for taking more shots and making his actors work longer. By like, okay, do this again. No, do it again. No, do it again.
Yeah, because he is always chasing a certain thing, right? And yeah, I mean, sure. It doesn't really matter what the director likes or wants, right? It's the actor who's having to go through it.
Yeah,
Brother,
but-
David
Right.
Fincher, by the way, for both of you, you both just lost the game. I certainly hope you guys... Do you not know what the game is?
What's the game?
You don't know what the game is? Oh, this is exciting for me. You've never heard of the game?
No.
So the game is, do you want to play the game? It's too late. You're now playing the game. So there's like 4 rules to the game. And those rules are, once you start playing the game, you will never stop playing the game. The goal of the game is to get everyone in the world playing the game. Right? To lose the game is to think of the game. When you think of the game, you must announce, I just lost the game, thereby making sure that all of the people around you have also just lost the game. And when you meet someone who has not heard of the game, you make sure that they have then heard of the game.
But
Goal
then
of the
if
game.
you're making sure they've heard the game, so you're losing yourself so they could win.
No, there's no winning. It's the goal of the game is to get everyone on Earth playing the game. And I just looked at David Fincher's movies, which, by the way, are all extraordinary movies.
Yeah,
I
he's
love
got a
every
great
single
catalog.
fucking one of them. But he's made or produced a movie called The Game. So I've just lost the game, and so have you.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm glad I wasn't playing it, so I lost it. I'm not too sad about it.
Sometimes I feel like there are things I'm happier without knowing.
Well,
That was
this is
definitely
one of
one
those
of
things.
them.
It's
Okay.
like the arrow in the FedEx
Yeah.
FedEx symbol.
So back to repeated performances and repeated takes, right?
Speaking of repeated
Yeah.
things, you just lost the game. I'll stop.
When an actor has to cry in a scene, you have to. So there's some actors who will create that situation for themselves in order to deliver the scene and cry themselves.
Yeah, like relive a traumatic
Right?
experience. Yeah.
There are some actors who are so good with facial expressions that all they need is a tear stick under their eye, and then the tear stick makes the eye water, and then you're like, go.
What are those tear sticks? So I always imagine like off camera they just put some fucking Visine into their eye or something and then they shoot back to them. But on scenes where it's like it's clear they don't know how to cry, but they managed to get a tear in their eye. How do they get that?
He's just gonna stab it.
No, so
Someone's behind them just like,
no, so it's basically like a mint stick, and it's like if you take Vicks, for example, and you just put Vicks under your eyes, the fumes, they dry up your eye, which then makes your eye water. And that's, I mean, all the gimmicks we do in making films is one of my favorite part of making films, is just cheat codes and hacks, and blood is food coloring and cornstarch, right? Like you add cornstarch to it and it gives you the right viscosity.
Yeah. I'm really interested in the way they like recreate sound effects off camera, and they'll like
It's called Foley.
break
Yeah,
pasta.
like
Foley.
yeah,
How do you
like
spell it?
Foley.
EY. Yeah.
1L. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that is an art on its own thing. Like
Yeah.
that's a specific technical segment of sound designing, which happens as part of post-production sound. And like there are Foley artists whose job is just this, right? Like be it, and it's fascinating to see objects they use to create different sound effects for different things, especially drones and sand and yeah.
Like
No,
whenever
it's
they
just-
beat up people in movies, it's really cool because you hear, oh, he's punching him, but then he's actually like just hitting like steak.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
weird things like that. Though I have to imagine that's got to be one of the biggest areas that we're gonna start to see like AI get introduced.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen a lot of like substitution for
Yeah,
with AI in that realm?
yeah, because you can generate a sound, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey
And they're pretty good
AI,
at that.
create a sound of a helicopter or punching or fight.
I
But
can do that.
yeah, it's fascinating. There is, I don't remember the details, but there is the sound of a scream.
Oh, the Wilhelm scream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Where
And
yeah.
it's
That's
that sound has been used in over 50 different movies.
But it's like you'll be watching. I don't know why they keep reusing this. Like
Not that you're relying on that scream, it's just that it's there to use it, so why wouldn't you use it?
say like if it's a movie that's like intentionally on the nose, then they'll throw it in there as kind of like almost a way of like breaking the fourth wall and just being like, yeah, we fucking did that. But for like say like a low budget, thriller or something that just throws it in there unironically, it just seems like a poor choice.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
You have to establish a sound range that you want all your audio to sound like, and then you have to recreate every piece of dialogue that's there and there at that level. Because when you get location sound, the sound varies so much based on, sometimes you're shooting in a bedroom, sometimes you're in a big banquet hall where everything is echoey, sometimes you've just got sailboats, beeping horns going out in the back. So, the quality of sound you end up receiving from the sound mixer. I mean, the sound mixer on location, like, that's their whole job, which is making sure everything's getting caught in the right levels of sound. And then the sound designer in the end will just sit and make sure all the levels are the same. Because, again, just like the scream, any piece of sound which is even remotely off can throw you out of the experience of the film.
Yeah, like a fucking continuity error.
Yeah.
Hate those, but I also love them. I like looking for them. They're like
Yeah. See,
cameo. No, not cameos. What are they? What's that like in a
Easter egg.
Yeah,
Easter
eggs.
egg.
Thank you.
See, that is one of the biggest disadvantages of working in film is you stop just remotely enjoying films, and your brain is always breaking down and microanalyzing all the small pieces they did. It's not, I mean, you spot continuity errors immediately. And even then, there's so many you still won't. But it's more of you're always thinking of, oh, that was the background action there. That was the camera movement. Oh, how did they light that shot? And you're just like, oh, sometimes I wish I didn't know so much. And like, ignorance is that bliss.
Well, that's one of the reasons I've chosen not to go into films. Like, I feel like seeing, like, say for example, what it always did for me is like with a superhero movie or like the Avengers, like seeing them act that out on a set in a green room just feels like it would kill all movie magic forever for me.
So now imagine when you're the actor, right? And that's again something I find so fascinating, where it's like, okay, you have to imagine you are talking to a dragon, but all you're seeing is a little green ball.
But you have a much deeper ability to imagine things in totality. It would give you a better ability to like be in those situations and actively like portray it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why just being out there and working as much as they can is such a bread and butter rule for actors, because it's like the more experiences you can put yourself through, the more places you have in your memory bank to reach into to then help you create and deliver that feeling. Right? Because it's like when you hear, when something surprises you, right? Your body reacts in a certain way, right? Your heartbeat gets elevated, your breathing gets a little faster. And there's obviously a stimulus which has gone into your brain, which has then created that output, right? Now, for the actor, they will have that stimulus input prepped and ready and stored somewhere in the back of their head. So when they need to perform a particular scene, that's the place they go to, which then brings them into it.
Yeah, I think that kind of attributes to most things. The more you do something, the more you get better at it, and then you just experience like, okay, I've been here. It's like, well, fundraising. Oh, I've never heard this objection before. I'm gonna let you go. But the next time I get it, I'm like, oh, this is what I told this lady, and it worked. And then I'm kind of telling this person the same thing, and it works again. It's like, oh, who would have thought? Yeah, no, it's really hard. I don't think I can act
No,
at all.
no.
But I'm actually auditioning for uh,
for
ad.
for a commercial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got cut off earlier. I think we were walking to the gym.
Yeah, we
and
had just
it
walked
stopped
in.
us. Yeah.
So it's basically, I saw it on Facebook. Some lady, she's posted this like call out for people who love football.
Oh,
Not
sick.
the
Yeah.
American one, but the actual football.
yeah.
And
The less exciting one.
not really the more exciting one.
Hey, it's the Super Bowl on Sunday,
Yeah.
so let me have
It's the
this
World
1
Cup
week.
this summer,
Yeah.
so let me have this year.
Hey,
Yeah.
I said let me have this. Well, you can have the year, 51 weeks of it. I just want this one.
I don't know, man. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever. Concussions all the way.
True.
But what was I saying? Oh yeah, and then
Acting.
the whole call out is just like, oh, you come and after like send like 2 clips of being like, oh, I'm excited. Yeah, hopefully. I don't know. I'm hoping it goes through and works out because
It'd be exciting,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, fucking do it, man.
Plus, it's the fairly decent rate.
Dude, amazing rate. It's
Yeah,
like
it's like-
2 to 4K if it gets
Oh,
selected.
no
and
shit,
But
gets-
really?
that's
Wow,
just your
yeah, fuck
commercial buyer. There's also $600 a day of like
day.
daily fees, which is also included for your wardrobe trials and fitting,
Nice.
right? So
Dude.
Hopefully, you get to keep the
Dude,
wardrobe.
and then
Money,
maybe
money,
I'll
money.
become an actor through this.
yeah,
I'll say
Yeah.
it right now. If I ever
people become actors anytime, anywhere.
Yeah, that's so. The most inspiring thing I've heard is so okay. So comedians always talk about this that oh, like with comedy, nobody's like ever just like good when you start. You have to put yourself out there again and again, thousands of times, and then you'll start getting a hang of what you're doing, and then everybody says like okay like it's around 10 years time of doing that thing again and again, like even with this like podcast I know it's going to take like 5 years 6 years to become something significant. And the same way like Seth Rogen said this in like one of his interviews as he's like the only way you can guarantee that you will fail is if you quit, right? And apart from that in the films, and you can say something on this, nobody knows what's gonna work out. You just keep going, and then one day it's like, okay, this movie I did works out. Now my career is made, and
Yeah.
so you just keep fighting and grinding it out.
Yeah, because it's like there's actors who worked on so many independent films, right? Which go to festivals here, there, everywhere, and they get screened, but it doesn't lead to more work. There's actors like Anne Hathaway who win an Oscar, but then for whatever reasons not get offered any good roles for 3-4 years, right? There's actors like Matthew McConaughey who will consciously just be like, okay, I do choose to not be this, rom-com poster boy forever. So I'm just not going to take any roles which come my way, which aren't of a particular type that I want to do and pursue, right?
And then there's Nick Cage who does everything.
Yeah, and then there's Daniel Radcliffe, right? Like Daniel Radcliffe was
Love his evolution
Right?
as an actor.
he was chucked straight into the spotlight right off the bat as a young kid. He was just Harry Potter for like 10 years, right? And he completely flipped the script in terms of the kind of roles he did and the characters he tried because he just wanted to break that image
I
of,
also feel very similar. Elijah Woods also.
yeah, Elijah Wood, Shia LaBeouf, right? Like,
Well, he went off the rails a little
yeah,
bit.
but again, it's like, you're trying to break the mold, and then sometimes, because again, like, performing arts is so mentally exhausting and it's so emotionally draining that it can really mess with you if you don't have the right support system around you.
Speaking of exhaust and support systems, both things are needed on an F1 team.
Yes. Oh, please. It's almost like I know we're doing an F1 the movie podcast, but I could just talk so much about F1. Seeing how we also just start racing in like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, is that when the season starts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 weeks.
8th of March is the first race weekend.
So I'm actually happy that I have both of you guys here for this one. I love having you on the podcast to answer like questions about acting, the set design, and the background because you've got a ton of knowledge on that. But both of you guys are actually involved in F1, and I know nothing.
Yeah.
So
my
there were a
team's
number
not
of things
doing
in
really
this.
well.
Are they not? Well,
Yeah.
it's not.
You have a team?
Yeah, I bought one the other day.
Are you also $350
No,
million
I'm
in
not
debt?
into F1. I really love it and enjoy it, but I don't think
He
I'm-
likes F1 because that is his sleeping music.
Yeah.
He hears F1 engines go around the track and that hum puts him to bed.
Oh, because you're playing F1 out here.
No, in a live race.
No, like during a live race, imagine if I put on race highlights right now, he will be asleep 20 minutes later.
Wow, really? Oh, so you're. I thought you watched F1. I thought playing the game got you into F1.
No, so for my attraction to F1 is more scientific than emotional or support for a team. I couldn't care less who's winning or who's losing. I always want the team that doesn't have the best driver or has like billions of dollars to spend on something winning, and I always support the underdog. Hamilton from Sahil, like just watching him, like I think 7 years I've been watching Sahil watch Hamilton. So just been like, okay, this is one guy, and I've become like familiarized and watching like Drive to Survive and everything. But by any means, I'm not like a F1 freak who's like,
Oh, okay. I've been under the under other impression because when we went to Vegas, and you wanted to walk the track,
Yeah.
which was a great idea, by
Yeah.
the way. So fucking happy.
because
we did.
I think it's pretty cool because it's one of the
I
newest
think
tracks.
his fascination was more down to just like sending me pictures of like him being on the track, being like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I know how much you wish you were here, but
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah.
So watch me."
That sounds like
Right?
fun.
Yeah.
That's accurate.
That totally sounds like
The, hey, soccer, I'm
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, no, I am the F1 nerd. I am the one who's watched F1 be like a sport none of my other friends used to watch. And I used to find that very strange because I remember being in grad school and none of my friends, like my friends in class, my friends who used to share an apartment with me, nobody was bothered by F1 and they thought F1 was like NASCAR and they just go in circles.
No, I bet that would piss you off.
I mean, I'm just like, I wish you knew, right? Like then, especially getting to watch the sport blow up because
Yeah, yeah. And when has it really started to like get popularized and blow up? Over what
COVID.
time? COVID did it. Okay.
So F1 was
that tracks.
so F1
3-4
was
years.
one of the first sports to stop everything for because of COVID. Like one of the first big international sporting series, right? Because they had a COVID case during their opening weekend in Australia.
And it's so international. I mean, it's so much
Yeah.
traveling, right?
So-
You've got to go one
so-
country
so
to the
this
next with all
is-
these people.
And obviously because everyone else was in shutdown and February 2020 is when season 2 of Drive to Survive was released. So with all of the drama around the sport being, cancelled because like F1 is a big expensive sport, right? With big legacy teams like Ferraris and Mercedes and McLaren, all of whom who are racing. So F1 as a sport, they chose to continue to go ahead with the weekend when places were going into shutdowns. And then one of the mechanics in the McLaren garage tested positive for COVID. And then the McLaren team dropped out on Friday from practice sessions. And then by Saturday, they had then scrapped the weekend because it was a health and safety risk. And then they suspended the season, obviously, because the world didn't really know how to deal with the pandemic. But then F1 was also one of the first sports back.
What is it for, though? Is it just for like a
No,
single prize?
No, so you race for points,
Okay.
right? So first position gets 25 points. Second place gets 18 points. Third place gets 15, 12, 10, 8, 4, 6, 2, 1, 0.
Okay. And so these, I imagine, add up over the course of a season.
And then so whichever constructor, which is whichever team's drivers together amass the most number of points, that team wins the World Constructors Championship. That's the official prize of F1. So that team gets the prize money, right? And then obviously the teams finish in a descending order 1 to 11, and there's a sliding scale of, you're losing 15 million per position you are below. But
Okay, so if I
it's
understand
also-
correctly,
but there's also not a big pay disparity where, the one coming first is taking 90% of the pot, because it's a even sliding scale and everyone gets an even share of the pie.
I like that.
Sorry, go ahead.
If I understand correctly, for the premise of the movie, I was trying to figure out like what are they trying to win when they're trying to win these races. And so if I understand now, the last race, them coming in first, was important both so he could say in that one moment he was the best in the world, but also so he could keep his team. At the start of the movie, he says, if I don't win a race once in 3 years, then the board can kick me off. So he needed a win. He had 10 races to get a single win.
So it was not just about coming first or getting on the podium, but it was about like finishing respectfully. They had not even had scored a point in 2.5 years, and they'd been around for like 3 years.
but the requirement was to need a podium
to go
to
for
get
the next season.
Like when the
So that
film
makes sense.
begins and he comes in to meet Brad Pitt and he tells him that, hey, like this is my team. 3-year plan. I'm 2.5 years in, half the season's left. In these 10 races, I need a podium. So I need you to come help me figure this out. And it's the whole thing that, comes with an experienced driver where, their understanding and discipline of the sport and their technical knowledge is so much better than, that you would get from a rookie who's his teammate.
Also, though, that was just like, I feel like a flaw in the movie, though, because it's like purely from like a reaction speed standpoint, he shouldn't be able to compete. He's,
That's not true at all.
I don't necessarily.
there are
What's the
40
average age of these people?
No,
I mean,
there
even
are-
in like
there are
games
42
after the
there are
age of like,
42-year-old
how are they doing?
F1 really well.
I would show me right now,
Like Lewis
show me the
Hamilton and
ages.
Fernando Alonso.
Show me their ages. Pull up their ages, because I'm curious. Because in esports, after the age of like 27, people have to retire because their reaction speed isn't good.
It's also e-sport. They need to go get a life.
Yeah, that is not the case for Formula One drivers. I mean, right now we have a very young grid. Like 6 rookies joined the grid last year.
Because that
And-
was the question I was going to ask you as like a non-F1 viewer. How did you feel about the... Because I saw this thing come up pretty often when people spoke about the film, was like somebody who's not been driving for 30 years.
But he had not been driving, right?
But it's very different. Daytona compared to F1 is pretty different.
Yes, which is why he crashed the car. And obviously, the physical training and strength required to be an F1 driver is obviously very different, right? The G-force you are going through, there is no other driving series puts you through so much of G-force.
Which is great. And what's the? Don't they lose something like 4 kgs a race or something like that?
Just heat.
Yeah. And you were right. So yeah, 40. There's people here 41, 44, 41, 38, 36, 36. Most prime drivers are
Or
in
like
there.
28, 29. That's
exactly.
the Charles Leclerc, Max Verstappen generation. And now we have a bunch of like teenagers and 20-year-olds
They started, 13?
driving. No, they get into karts at 5 years old.
5 years old? Yeah.
Like
correct.
that's when they start go-karting.
Yeah. I always find that like so weird that
It's
this is the future for you.
No, it's super expensive, and it's one of the biggest drawbacks to the sport, because even as a reserve driver, to get a drive for a practice session for an F1 team, you have to pay about $1.5 to $2 million,
Fucking wild.
right? So, yeah, and then there's a lot of drivers like George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Esteban Ocon, who really come from nothing, right? So they had parents who were working 4 jobs
to get them to the academy.
there's no academy. When you're a 5-year-old child, when you're a 7-year-old child, there is just your parents who are doubling up as your mechanic and fixing your go-kart, and they just take you go-kart racing everywhere. Yeah, like the psychology of some of these sports drivers is absolutely fascinating.
You'll find that also like in a lot of, I find, like world sport disciplines, like for example in climbing, most of like the professional climbers in the world and world class climbers are people who have been doing this with their parents since they were 2, 3, 4, 5 years old.
Yeah.
So these are people who are coming into the sport. I mean, that's how you get there.
No,
You have to have been doing this, like you were saying earlier. The more you
Yeah.
do something, the better you are at it.
Yeah.
You have to have been, I feel like, not only have that 10 to 15 years of experience, but you have to have been training your brain at the points where it was going through the most of its formation, doing this activity from a very young age. Just
Yeah.
like being a world class, instrumentalist.
Really good
Musician.
because I mean the reaction time these guys have to deal with at like 300 kilometers an hour is absolutely insane. And Sile showed me a video of like this driver Charles Leclerc, who's in Ferrari, and he had this thing where he was trying to do something, and there's a turn that comes up, and he just turns with one hand, and it's just a zoom zoom. Because for them, if you look at it, they're going so fast that each lap is at max 2 minutes, and most of them being 1:30.
Yeah, like for them, everything's a blur, and it's like, it's again like with acting, it's the smaller details you really need to notice, because during that 1 minute 30-second lap, a driver goes through about 15 corners. F1 cars have 8 gears. Okay, they don't they can reverse and there is a neutral, but on their paddles, they're upshifting, downshifting only from gear
If
1.
they're reversing in a race, something has gone very wrong.
No, I mean you have to sometimes, because somebody else skips you, you get stuck somewhere, you're in the grass.
But that means something has gone very wrong.
Yeah. So drivers end up going through about 1,200 gear shift changes in the course of a lap, right? Because you're going.
Are they mostly manual? They're not
They're
automatic.
all manual. No,
Yeah.
Because you're
That would
going
be crazy.
You're
automatic.
going. You're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you're doing this lap after lap after lap.
Is it a click? You're doing this with your fingers.
So,
Do they
so,
have?
so they have paddles on the back. So one's for upshift, one's for downshift.
But it's not like each gear is associated to
No,
an
no, no.
individual.
It's just upshift and downshift, right? And then outside of this, they have 50 different buttons on the steering wheel to control brake balance, front and rear brake balance. They have to adjust these small dials while driving at 200 kph. So yeah, and then it's like I always say F1 is the most competitive sport in the world, because there's only 20 athletes allowed in that sport at that level, right? There is no other sport which is that competitive where there's only now 22 athletes who get to compete.
Like tennis tournaments. Like
There's more than 20.
There's hundreds of players, but when it comes to like the big tournaments of the year, like there's a lot of qualifying stages that get to there.
Yeah.
But once you're on the world stage and you're playing for that
But
competition, it's really just about
even if you're
individual
just in the round of
athletes.
16, that's already
Golf?
that's already 16 tennis players.
It's less than 22,
I said 16. Just
which
in
is
the round of 16
less than
of
22.
any tournament.
But that's less than.
Round of 16 would be
32?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're saying a 16 bracket. Yeah. Okay. So I have to say, like, I really enjoyed this movie. I hadn't
Yeah.
seen it yet. It came out, last summer. I know you guys saw it in the theaters.
I didn't. Sile did.
I saw it.
I thought you saw it together.
No,
No.
I saw it with David.
I had just come back from camping, I think, and they were just going out to see the movie. I started to go with them, and they were like,
Nah, never mind.
I've not slept for 2 days. I'm gonna
Oh,
have
yeah,
a-"
Yeah, we watched it in D-Box too. It was fantastic because D-Box has got those moving seats.
Yeah. I bet that was great for this.
This is the kind of movie that's designed for that kind of theater experience.
Yeah.
What was your take on it? Like, because I'm guessing you don't watch any F1.
So I don't, and so that's why. So I was curious about the background, and I felt like there were a few things this movie did really well. I felt there were a few things it didn't. For one, it was very formulaic, if you will. I had formula.
I
Guys,
heard the
come on.
joke. Yeah.
Come on, fuck.
Do better.
Wink, wink. No, I know it's not a great joke,
Or-
but I've
or
been
the-
waiting for like a day.
Or just slip me some money. I laugh.
So it was a very formulaic movie, but I felt like one of the things that I really respected about it was how much it showed me about like the technical aspects that go into having this team and the amount of people who are involved, the amount of technology that's involved.
I love that so much because what I loved about this movie was how they didn't touch the technicalities of F1 at all, and they had no technical aspect to the movie whatsoever.
But for someone, so for
Yeah,
someone who knows
yeah.
all of the things that are
Yeah,
involved,
yeah, exactly. Like,
but for someone who doesn't, it's like they at least expose that there is a very large group of coordination and
Yeah.
coordinating people behind this. Kind of like what you were saying about how many different elements of like a movie has to kind of work together, right?
Yeah.
How many different people there are working
Yeah.
together.
No,
But
so-
also
so-
at the same time, I felt like it didn't explain certain things. Like, for example, with the start of the movie, with that race, that completely failed to either excite or grip me or explain to me what the hell was going on.
The first race?
Yeah,
The
the
Daytona?
NASCAR one.
Okay, so that's not NASCAR.
that's not NASCAR.
Daytona?
That's an endurance race. That's not Daytona either.
You've seen Ferrari versus Ford?
No.
No?
Actually,
I thought
But
you-
I've
you-
seen
No.
Talladega Nights.
no.
What's
So
that? I don't know.
Oh, brother, that's a John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell
Yeah.
movie. How have you not seen Talladega
I've
Nights?
seen,
Okay.
I've seen. I've not. I don't think I've sat down and seen the movie. It's either being played at a bar and a TV, or But I know the moment you mention it, it's their race movie. I've seen so many like clips of them, like
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
the races.
classic,
It's-
classic.
it's
And
endurance
Sacha
racing.
Baron Cohen's in that.
Yeah.
But is
I-
Daytona
I-
not
I- I-
NASCAR?
No, it is, but Daytona is just one of the races.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
right. But that's so endurance racing is totally different.
So to my point, like there were a number of times watching this where I felt like they failed to convey to me as someone who does not know what's going on, what is going on. And also like the format they were showing the races, it was like there were a number of times I was watching this movie where it's like I feel like watching an F1 race would actually be more entertaining and more visually like effective at showing me this race
Yeah.
than this movie is being.
Yeah, sure.
I would say playing the game. When it comes to like information about the sport or anything, I think the game is absolutely amazing. Me and
Like the F1 game.
yeah, the F1 game, not the game.
Oh, you just lost. I just lost.
The F1 game, and it's so not only informative but also like fun. But it's very interesting because I was watching an interview with one of the drivers because they shot a lot of this movie while the actual F1 season is happening. So it's like, okay, they're doing a race and formation lap. Okay, guys, send the cars. They'll go shoot the scene with the crowd and all everything.
Yeah,
around,
no
and
shit,
then
eh?
we like chop and out.
Yeah,
So
cool.
it was Carlos Sainz is a Ferrari driver, or was Ferrari when he, I think, said this or changed. I don't know. But he was talking about how this movie does a really good job for non-F1 freaks of like giving them information, because F1 freaks will look at this and be like, I'm not exactly sure this is how that would work. And
Yeah,
they can
yeah, yeah.
pinpoint things. But for somebody who's coming in from like a blank slate, it was kind of what DTS was for North America, and that's kind of like what
DTS.
Drive to Survive. That's the Netflix show that I was talking about.
Okay, yeah, sure.
That's like the biggest factor as to why F1 as a sport has blown up so much, because F1 was always very European and, very popular in Asia. America was, okay, we have a race in Indianapolis earlier, and then we switched to Austin, and then over the last few years, we've now added a race in Miami, and now we've added Vegas.
Yeah, really cool to just see how they've had to like find a middle ground to show stuff but not show everything. And I felt that really was well shown when they did the first qualifying lap that he goes on.
Yeah. Where he's
Right.
trying to like meet JP's time, or he just like shows up. Yeah.
So it's like if you meet JP's time, you're good. Otherwise, you have to like.
Yeah,
you know,
I
good
mean
luck.
his self-devised test, right? When he's like,
Yeah.
"I'll be within a second of him."
Yeah.
Because as an audience, you see like okay, the color of his timings.
Yeah,
It's like yellow, yellow, and then one comes like green, and he's like, oh, he's gaining.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna.
As an audience member, did that have any meaning, understanding to you?
It actually did because yeah. So like they conveyed that I felt like very well, and what I was actually very pleased with was when he shows up. I wrote in my notes. I was like, let me guess, he's gonna show up and do purple on all four of them. Or he's really gonna outperform JP, and then because that's how they're building him up, right? They're building him up as this incredibly talented, natural driver and XYZ, and then he shows up, and you see how much he actually struggles, and you see him, crash out, and it's like, okay, so I feel like in terms of like trying to convey to a viewer like how important a fraction of a second is, as well as what is the degree of difficulty that these drivers have to put themselves through, and like how capable do they need to be. I felt they portrayed that very well.
Yeah. Also, I really liked when he first comes in and JP's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Yeah.
Right, and he's like, you know your new teammate, and he's like, when was the last time you won a race? And he's like, oh, yesterday. He's like, which race? Like Daytona. I just won it. And he's like, no, I mean F1. Then he's like, oh, the same as you.
Same as you. Yeah. That was great.
And so that because the story I felt like was really like, I guess the word would be Hollywoodized, right?
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
To make it like more of like, oh, it's not about the racing, but it's like there's a story to it.
Yeah. The fucking formulaic. Anyone?
Yeah.
No, come on.
Yeah, hey,
Yeah,
I love
maybe
the
on
effort
the
for
third
trying
try.
again.
I mean, for the number of films who try and do the formula and really struggle with it, it's like this was a very big project as an undertaking because you're filming just live with actual race teams and actual drivers in and around you. They were literally there as an 11th team.
Yeah,
Then,
for practice for
right?
the new season.
And then even the cars they drove, right? They were Formula 2 cars, which had been modified by Mercedes to look like Formula 1 cars, right? And Mercedes were helping out because Lewis Hamilton was driving for them, and he is one of the producers of the movie.
Oh, was he really? Okay, so
Right, yeah.
he was their driver.
So when
does he make any appearances in the movie?
I mean, he is there.
He
like,
walks out of his car in the final race,
No,
and he's
like
the final guy in the
he's
race.
the driver who goes to the final crash, which leads to Brad Pitt winning.
Yeah, but do we ever see
Yeah.
him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's there.
So just it's actually a really funny scene because
he has that stare down with Damson Idris.
yeah, which is really weird because
Dude with the dreads?
yeah, the black dude, and so it's like really funny because it's too short of a scene to really signify like a stare down. But I saw it and it's just like he looks at Lewis, but his expression is like he's looking kind of some sort of like a validation. You know how like black guys do in public, like yo, it's just like acknowledgement, and then he just sees and Lewis just goes away, and then it's like really quick. So for me, I felt like that wasn't like that impactful as it could have been. Like, hey, dude, I'm number one, so
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's the whole thing. That's what they didn't want it to be about,
yeah.
right? Like,
I mean, they must have like so much respect for each other because when you're just 20 of you each year going through the hardships.
yeah, no, absolutely. I mean,
And I mean,
Heated
every single
rivalry
time they
too.
get in that car, there's a chance of fucking death.
yeah,
Right?
You should watch Grosjean's crash in Bahrain.
I didn't understand a word that just came out of your mouth.
So there was a French Formula 1 driver called Romain Grosjean, and he had a car crash in Bahrain, which is a F1 track, and his car split into two, and it got engulfed in a fireball, and he walked out of the car. He jumped out of it while the car had split into two.
Fuck, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, that was scary to watch because I just saw that happen live. While
Did you? I was wondering. Yeah.
While we were watching the race, and then yeah, that's a heart and mouth moment for a lot of the drivers also because not only have you seen one of your colleagues go have that heavier crash, you then have to go sit in the car and then go drive
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
again, right? So the mentally you have to like lock yourself back in and be like, okay, I'm a cutthroat competitive driver.
Well, I have a question for you from the realism standpoint. So in the first like plan C, where he
Yeah.
crashes
Chaos.
into two cars and then he drives through the
Yeah.
How realistic did you feel that was as like an approach that someone could implement and then get
Okay.
away with as
No,
just a, like
so
it happened.
so stewards are really strict, and if they see it happen too often, they'll give you a reprimand going into your next race also. Plus, when you get penalties for doing things like this, it leads to penalty points on your driver's license.
No shit,
Yeah,
really?
and if
DUI.
and if you amass over 12 points within a 12-month window, you get a race ban.
Wow, no shit.
Right? So
I respect that.
Yeah,
I think
so
that's
it's
important.
like if you crash into someone, you get 2 penalty points. If you disobey a red flag, which is like everything must stop, and like the race is being stopped, you could get 3 penalty points. Whereas for minor accident, it's 1 penalty point.
So how often do you see people like, taking on points because it would improve their position in a race or
The one-off, you could, yes, right? Like when teams race in Monaco, they do all of these weird tactics where somebody's driving 10 seconds slower than the pace, so as to give their teammate ahead of them a big enough gap to pit and come back ahead of them, because Monaco, this track is so narrow that other drivers can't really overtake you. So yeah, people do that, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna DNF right now, so I'm gonna
fuck with the other guys, help your teammate out.
yeah, so there's obviously just a driving code between the drivers, right?
You don't wanna be an asshole.
A basic
Yeah.
professional standard of, like, this is how we'll go about things, and this is, how we act in certain situations. So yeah, you could do it once, but no, you can't really. You can't. A real F1 team can't have a plan C.
I figured as much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they have like plan C strategy. Like Ferrari is famous for having plan Ds and Es and Fs, and their strategy is horrible. But yeah,
It's like, what's our strategy? Crash into the other cars.
Other 19 vehicles.
yeah.
So as
I
a-
mean, the genius of it is crazy, right? Just causing all those
Yeah,
safety cars,
and all
But-
he does is get
but,
his wing
like,
clipped.
Yeah, but absolutely crazy things like this have happened for real in F1. There's the Crashgate scandal of 2008.
Tell me more.
Which was so 2005 and 6, Fernando Alonso, young Spanish driver, breaks Michael Schumacher's 5-year domination in the sport and wins 2 back-to-back constructor drivers championships for Renault. Okay. 2007, he switches over to McLaren. McLaren also signed a rookie driver in Lewis Hamilton. So is Fernando Alonso, 2-time world champion, and new rookie driver Lewis Hamilton in McLaren. McLaren have an absolute rocket ship in 2007. Both these drivers are competing with each other for the world title, and Fernando is chasing his 3rd world title. Lewis is chasing a world championship in his rookie year, which is unprecedented. A lot of politics and drama, and Alonso handing out envelopes of cash to his engineers, and just cheap tactics between teammate rivalry. Like Alonso, they were qualifying for a race, and Alonso just stood in front of Lewis for about 15 seconds extra, and Lewis could never complete his qualifying lap.
No shit. Did he
Right?
get him kicked out?
Yeah, Alonso got penalized for it, right? So he lost 5 positions. So that was like a suicide move.
Backfired.
And seeing how Alonso lost the championship by 1 point definitely backfired.
You got the car joke in there, right,
Right.
guys?
So
Cars backfire.
So anywho, a lot of drama.
They're getting better.
A lot of drama between the teams at McLaren and Alonso. So Alonso switches over. He goes back to Renault in 2008. Now his teammate in 2008 was Nelson Piquet Jr., who was former world champion Nelson Piquet's son, because nepotism. And basically, he had been instructed to crash intentionally, and Renault had used a strategy where they pitted Alonso, so he'd come out on fresh tires and lost a few track positions, and then they artificially created a safety car.
So just like in the fucking movie.
By telling Nelson Piquet Jr. to just crash into the wall. And he did exactly that. He crashes into the wall. Everybody has to pit. Alonso takes the lead, wins the race. End of the year, Nelson Piquet Jr. gets fired from Renault. So he leaks it to the press about what exactly happened during the Singapore race. Yeah.
And so what came out of that?
The team principal for the then Renault team was suspended from F1 indefinitely. He is now once again team principal of that same team. 50 years later.
No shit, eh?
Okay.
Did they strip them of the win? Did they strip the team of the win?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. His name's Flavio Briatore, and he is old school mafia,
No shit.
right? And it's like he's just an absolute gangster, right? Like,
I'm gonna kill your mom.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Go
Like,
back.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was one of the most toxic personalities of the sport, like in the late 2000s. And he was indefinitely suspended from the sport and banned. But somehow he came on as CEO of an investment firm which was buying a stake in one of the F1 teams. And then he took over controlling interest. And now he is CEO. So, yeah.
So how did you feel about the just movie as a whole? What was your experience seeing it as an outsider to
movie
F1?
as a whole? I think the movie does such a important job to signify how big the sport is, right? It's not a sport that we see in a bar. It's not a sport. Honestly, I don't even think you can really enjoy drinking, or I guess all you can do when you go out there is drink, because it's like you're there and you see those cars for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Sorry, seconds, not minutes, seconds, and you know,
Bet it's cool.
but it's really cool. There's a lot of effort that a lot of people are putting into it, right? There's like engineering teams, there's marketing team, there's this one guy who has the responsibility to deal with two egoistic people who are like, I want to be number one and I want to be number one, to manage that dynamics. You have the drivers themselves and their family also, because I'm imagining for anybody, you know, like who's doing something, their family play a huge role. And so like parents and especially partners, if you tell like, hey, I want to, like, I'm pretty sure probably in the 60s, 70s, so many dudes told their girlfriends or like to be wives, like, hey, I want to be a race car driver. And they're like, dude, get a job. Right?
Joke's
But
on you.
then to like actually invest all the energy and resources, and like you mentioned, so many players who don't have that affluent background to come and just be like, yeah, I can spend like millions of dollars here. So that was one really good thing. One thing that I didn't like from the movie was the romantic angle between the team engineer and Brad Pitt.
It was unnecessary.
If they didn't do that, I think this movie would have. I would have.
Formulaic.
Yeah.
Nice. I knew the third one would be better. I'm okay that it wasn't me. Nice. Well played.
Repeats it every time. But yeah, I think apart from that, there was nothing in the movie that I would change. I loved everything. I love the insecurity. The other driver, what's his name?
Damson Idris, yeah.
yeah, JP has. I love how his friend is also adding to that insecurity of like, dude, you gotta get
That was great.
yeah, you gotta go get like brand deals and you're gonna be kicked out. Um, yeah, I wouldn't really go into. There wasn't really anything that I felt like, oh, it just stayed with me. Just overall, really, I felt calm for some reason, even though this movie was like high adrenaline.
It never once fucking got me. I actually thought like when JP got in his crash, I wasn't sure. I was like, they're not gonna kill him, but I actually wasn't sure. So like I respected that. Like I could be watching that scene and not feel that there was so much plot armor around it that I didn't think they were going to kill him, or that I knew for sure. So I like that. And to your point about the romance, though, I hated that there was a romantic angle, understanding that there's going to be, because there always is. But I loved the Irish woman. I thought she was a great fucking character.
Yeah, she's a good actor.
I will say this, and I will say this again.
She's also in Mobland, which is a Paramount show.
Yeah.
Fantastic. She
Yeah.
plays Tom Hardy's wife.
Ah, interesting.
Carrie Condon.
Yeah.
What else has she been in?
She the Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah. Like she is.
And the Shire.
Yeah, like she is like a typical British actor.
I feel like Irish.
Irish.
She's Irish, bro.
Very different.
No.
Yes.
All of those actors.
Do we need a map?
No, they all work in fucking England, and they're all trained and
But
educated.
Sahil, saying somebody is English, you can ask any Irish person. Irish people take offense. Cillian Murphy has refused to like even sign Prince Harry's hand for like a promotion for the movie, even though they work in England. When he's okay, I'm just saying that in my experience, I've had like Irish people, and I've became friends with Irish people because they have a lot of like colonial history with England. They do not like to be.
Okay.
I even got shit from an English woman the other day. I was like, English? She's like, no, I'm the other one. And it took me a minute. I was like, oh, British. And she's like, yeah, they're different. And it was clear this was a pet peeve of hers. So
Cool. Today I learned.
yeah, today I learned.
But
Yeah,
but
amen.
I love their like for some reason the accent is just like super funny when I'm Katie.
Katie?
Yeah, her name's Kate, right? And she says it like Katie.
No, she doesn't.
Okay, maybe I heard it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the funniest thing was like she's like, I never fuck with like during the season and with my team drivers, and I love winning, right? Classic Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
And then and she's like, oh, you lost to like fives. Obviously, he had like a set of kings.
Of course. Well, so let me ask you though. Did you know in that scene? So I got I didn't get the first round of him driving right, where I was like, oh, he's gonna show up and just beat JP.
Yeah.
But when he loses that hand, I'm like, he didn't lose that hand. Fucking obvious. That poker scene was a great scene though. Really, really good. And that's the thing. Like I feel like this is one of the only movies I've seen in probably the last 5-10 years where when it was done, now granted it might also have been because I haven't watched a movie in a little while, but when it was done I wanted to watch it again immediately. Almost immediately.
Yeah,
I thoroughly
because
enjoyed
it
it.
leaves you with the sense of, that happened, and you really just want to watch it again to be sure of all the things that happened. Like, it's a happy, fast, exciting movie, right? Like, at no point does it have unneeded, unwanted scenes. Like, everything, it's very well paced, and everything just adds up, and it leads to the end, and then the movie finishes. It doesn't leave you hanging with scenes where you're just like, this is not adding anything to the end.
Yeah, I actually I think that's I don't I wouldn't agree with that in totality just because of like how formulaic the movie was. I'm not making the joke there. Because it was like there were points in the movie where I was like, okay, I guess this scene has to be there because they have to develop the storyline that they've chosen to, but there were so many really good scenes. Like so many of these that just happen along the movie where I was just like, really enjoying it. The writing was great. The comedy was great. And also there was a scene where it was when he was getting his first press interview, and the guy's like, asking him these questions about his past. You had done this, and Brad Pitt's just like, yeah. It's like, is there anything you wish you had done differently? And it was like, yeah. I'm like, Brad Pitt is perfectly cast for this
Yeah.
role.
I think the whole production team did such a good job. I was learning about this. So that whole JP crash. So actually, first of all, they created special cameras for this.
No, they created special cameras for Top Gun.
They actually created special cameras for this too, because the Top Gun cameras added too much weight onto the car. So they created special cameras that were lighter and were less shaky when it going on this high
Nice.
speed.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So and they got Sony to do it,
Yeah.
and
Sony
Apple,
cameras are
and
amazing.
Apple paid for like good amount for those two. But it's like, say, how we were talking about like performance art. When you have an artist that cares about their art, it naturally, there's a oomph effect you get as a viewer. Watching this movie, that was one of the biggest things. Like everybody who's been in there, from like the director who's done Top Gun. What's his name?
Jerry Bruckheimer.
Is that?
Or is
It-
that the producer?
I think that's the producer, Joseph Kosinski.
Kaczynski, yeah.
He was talking about like how the first thing he did was like go find Hamilton.
Yeah, like when he came up with the idea of wanting to make an F1 movie, he was like, okay, if I want to make a movie about F1, who's the right person to help me about it?
I was like,
And
who's
then-
Hamilton? The driver.
And then he reached out to Lewis, right? And yeah, Lewis was signed on immediately, and that was honestly such a great move, because partnering with Lewis gave them such unprecedented access. Because when you go up and partner with the goat of the sport, and like, just the biggest star on the grid, who drives for Mercedes, which is the biggest team, right? And Ferrari fans will argue, but you know, so absolutely makes sense.
And the cameras. Have you seen Top Gun?
Yeah, the second one.
The second one.
It took me a while to watch it. I wasn't, because I didn't really enjoy the first one that much. It was dated, but I loved the second.
Right.
I thought the second was
And
great.
it's that feeling of like when these guys are driving in the car compared to like also them in the plane. It's amazing to see just how far technology has come, that you can see that clearly at that speed.
Yeah. I just love that they actually had cars driving and not cameras outside the car with the projection screen in the back, like has been done for most F1 movies, really, because it's just so much easier. And like the access they got to be able to be on those tracks.
How much do you
It's-
guys think they
I
spend?
was just
all
about
in
to
all?
ask you. Yeah, all in all,
Yeah.
fuck, 480 million.
480
Maybe
million.
more. It was
That's
an
a very
Apple original.
specific. I like
Yeah.
that guess.
Yeah, I would also say around 500 million. Though I do love that they got actual brands to pay sponsorship money to be the sponsors on their Apex team kits.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, that's great.
Expensify paid $20 million, I think.
Oh, that's so
to
cool.
be-
I love
so
that
I'm
they
like,
did
that
that.
is great producing.
Yeah, that's
right?
really, really
You know how you
clever.
solve like two problems?
Because that's exactly how it would work in the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking wonderful.
I'm going to say 380, 400.
380. That's probably correct. It's like 250 to 300.
Yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
What
Yeah.
they make? They probably make good money.
Oh, it is one of the highest grossing
Yeah.
films last year.
Has it
it's-
touched
Fucking
the
Brad
1B
Pitt
mark?
movie,
No.
F1.
No?
I mean,
No.
Are we at 700?
Yeah, 680 to be specific.
Yeah.
But dude, mind blowing. And to not
but
even
that's
get
680 box office, right?
yeah, but to not get like any recognition, not even a single award. Like they had some nominations, but to not win
fucking Sinners got 16.
Whoa, so overrated.
Bro, thank you. Fuck, we ranted about
we
this
were
fucking
reading.
thing
We'll do an
last
episode
week.
for Sinners
Yeah.
too.
I'd be
Yeah.
down for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
no.
eh.
Honestly, the taste of the modern public right now, like they hide
Brother.
the weirdest films.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm saying there was anything which was award worthy about the movie. Like
I would
Yeah.
agree with
it's
that.
it's very generic. It's very formulaic.
Very basic.
It's got a good Ed Sheeran song.
Yeah.
It's got a great composer and cool, fascinating technology.
I
but-
didn't love the Ed Sheeran song at the end.
Yeah.
I didn't love it.
There's an Ed Sheeran song.
Yeah, at the very end, I was like, "Is that Ed Sheeran?" But the song, I noticed it was Ed Sheeran, and I was like, "But I'm not loving this song."
I
right
knew
now.
that Spotify
No,
has like a playlist.
I think I've just gotten used to it because it plays every time I put on the F1 game.
Ah,
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
song,
Right?
yeah.
So yeah. Also, it was scored by Hans Zimmer, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. I did notice that at the start. I thought the score was really good. Also, the one scene at the start of the movie with the fireworks where they're just driving along the water, like a beautiful cinematography. So I was listening to a Times podcast the other day, and I heard one of the. I don't necessarily agree with this sentiment, but it's going to lead to something. I heard one of the Times reporters say, this is a movie that he recommended only paying half attention to for the whole way until the last 30 minutes because he felt like just the way that they like shot the final race scene he really liked. Now I didn't like that, but what I was thinking this movie is for a movie that's about a sport, right, which is F1 in this case, which I think is technically an exhilarating fucking concept. There was not a single time where I was watching a race like excited. Like I don't think any race got my heart up, and I feel like if you're going to make a movie about racing, if you can't accomplish that, you fail in at something.
So I honestly actually totally get that, and I love how that was your issue with it. Because the makers wanted to make a film which was not about F1 per se, but F1 was like a conduit for
To the
them to
rest
tell
of it.
that story.
The
Yeah.
medium.
Right? Like it was never about racing. Right? Like
The movie is literally called F1.
You know how we were complaining about it being formulaic, right? If they got him in
It's 5.
and then he was like a car that has not won anything for 2.5 years,
Hmm.
suddenly he's in exhilarating races, right? And then you're competing for the win. Like even now that he wins, he ends up winning the race is super cheesy and corny, right? Like the way the
Yeah.
safety flag and everything
Oh,
works
but of course
out.
it's gonna
And-
happen,
and then
right?
it's like,
Oh, last 3 laps
Yeah,
and have
we-
soft tires.
yeah. So,
But you know going into any movie like this, that's
Yeah.
how it's going to win.
Yeah,
right?
so-
that's how it's going to end up.
So for me, it was like, it was not about the racing as much as, how do I put it? Like this could have been a NASCAR movie and a MotoGP movie. It could have been any sport movie, right? Because it's about somebody who's kind of called it quits on something has to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this for my friend, right? It's about the contrast of the hardened veteran versus the cocky rookie.
Exactly.
Right?
And
So it's
I
not
like
a
what you said
sports
about
movie per se, but it has.
Yes,
the-
it just uses F1 as a very fancy, high-techy, cool, edgy conduit to be like, I'm going to tell you this story, but the world I choose to build it in is this fancy world of F1.
Well, I love your word conduit there because I think it is exactly that. But even so, I'm spending more than half the movie watching races, right? And to fail to, even especially at the start of the movie, to fail to ever once get me excited during a race, like I feel like that's a failure on behalf of the people
Yeah.
who are telling the story. Like I think they did the other elements of the story really well, but if
But
like,
maybe
if
the
you're gonna
intention
build
is
around-
not for
No,
you to get
like-
excited with the race. For
Yeah.
you, it's more about the person who's choosing to be in the car. And it's more about that person and like, okay, like what goes through like people who are actually choosing to do this. Because people know, okay, you sit in a car, you go fast. Boom.
Yeah.
Right, and then they-
because I'll tell you, right? Like,
Let me finish this. And then you get that experience, and that's why like racing scenes on their own are very short, right? They don't take up like a huge chunk of the movie except at the end. Otherwise, it's just like he does his test drive. You see like 30 seconds of him racing. Then
They go through like 6 races.
at the end of it, it is less about showing like, oh, what are these guys facing when they're on track, but what they're going through off track. So the team chemistry, the challenges there.
I agree with
and
that.
I don't think F1 team chemistry side would be that exciting unless there's like some politics involved and people are like, oh yeah, this is great, too fun to watch. But I can agree with Sal's point of like they're not being purposely not making it about the racing part.
But why can't they do both? Like
It's hard.
No, it's not, because they do it in Rush, right? Like Rush is also an F1 movie.
But
But
Rush
they
was.
Which is
also
Rush is the Niki Lauda movie.
Yeah, that was also Brad Pitt, right? I never saw it.
No, that's
Chris Hemsworth.
Oh,
Chris
yeah,
Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, one of
and
them, yeah.
the guy who plays Baron Zemo in.
Yeah, I forget his name. Fantastic movie, by the way.
Yeah.
So I have to imagine that's probably a similar thing where they use racing as a conduit to tell a story about the guy who's the racer.
No,
Right?
so
Or is it much
like,
more about
that's
the
a-
race?
That's like a biography.
That's a biopic. That's the actual story of. That's like a biopic on Niki Lauda, like who he
Okay,
was.
so even more so. It's even more focused on the driver and
Yeah.
the story about him. But you said you felt exhilarated. Like you said you
But
were
no,
excited
because
about the
that
racing.
movie has racing. Like that movie has him competing for a world championship.
Because
Well,
that
so
movie,
does this.
No,
He's not competing for world championship.
Okay, but he's competing via
No,
race.
No, they're competing in a race where they're finishing 16th and 17th, so they get a grand total of 0 points. So they aren't competing for a competitive advantage.
Okay,
So
so sure.
the only race they have where they're competing is the last race.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
we won't get
Well,
lost in the weeds
no,
here.
well,
It's, it's subjective.
No,
It's subjective.
because
And my
I would say-
personal.
I would say if he
Yeah.
won the race, you would say it's formulaic. If they had shown him eventually winning races, you would have been, oh, he came out of a sport he'd not driven in, and now he's suddenly got in the car and he's going purple, 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 and now it's about the racing, and now he's winning, and it's formulaic, right? So the whole what they chose to show was the team struggle and climb, right? Like we're a team who gets no points, who have no direction, no nothing.
So every race is that much more of a big deal. Like they're fighting off, like you said, it's an underdog story, right? You're rooting for the underdog, right? We're trying to watch them climb and claw their way back and outbeat the best in the world, right? Adapt to a new format that he's not raced in before. They have all these challenges inside, up to and including a shitty car, and they have to be that much better at the racing because of it to get to the end goal, which is the final competition.
So-
I'm just saying, for a movie that is about something, I should be at least moderately excited about the conduit
I
when
wonder
they're
if-
showing me the
I
conduit.
wonder if your excitement would change if you would know more about F1.
I actually feel like
Because
It
honestly,
might
it should
impact
matter.
less.
Like when you watch a sports movie. So I'll tell you. Here's the thing, okay? And the feeling you're chasing, it comes from all sports movies you watched, okay? Be it the one with the dog learning to play football, or
basketball.
or
Airbud.
Airbud.
He played
Airbud.
everything. He played
Or-
baseball also. I think there were like multiple.
Oh,
parts.
yeah.
but there's
sure.
so many
Yeah.
films, right?
you chose
There's-
Airbud.
there's- there's-
That was
po-
your go-to
the point
sports
being,
movie.
there's like goal, right? And then there's
Very niche. Moneyball.
What about The Sandlot? That's a fucking classic. Moneyball is a great example. The story's about, actually no, that is a story about the team and about the baseball,
Yeah.
but it's actually much more
Yeah.
about the team. And
Again, finishing the point I was trying to say is like when you watch movies like Airbud or Space Jam, right, which was the Michael Jackson cartoon movie, they all have a final payoff. Okay, like as audiences, we love a payoff, right? Which even Speed Racer, right? Like you're just watching him like win that race. You're just really rooting for him to win that race. Even Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars, right? When he's in a pod race, it's a movie about Jedi and the Force and aliens and space travel. but you're really excited about a race.
Are you? And so let's use that. Are you excited when he's having a fucking fight?
Let me finish what I'm saying. Okay, that's key focus area. So we love getting that payoff in films. This they chose to not really put it because it was never about the race. It was about their journey together. But to answer your to answer your question in Brad Pitt's words from the movie, could they have added an intense racing scene to checklist that formula item also? Yeah.
I agree with that. Well wrapped. Well wrapped. And so yeah, I felt like it was
Like,
missing that.
if they had added that scene, sure.
And I did have it for the second when JP crashed. And it was like, oh shit,
Yeah.
now I'm engaged.
I didn't like that Hamilton crashed almost right after. Like he crashed and then
No, wait. He's talking about JP's crash in Monza.
yeah, and
where
I'm talking about
You're talking about the Hamilton crash in Abu Dhabi. He's talking about where JP tries the overtake in the wet. And
yeah,
he
he flipped, and but then after that
Hamilton doesn't crash there.
bro, Hamilton crashes not in that race.
and
a
then in the
different
very
race.
next race.
But in the next few races
Yeah.
that they
No,
show,
he crashes in the last race. Hamilton doesn't crash.
Hamilton doesn't crash when he's driving angry and then he goes and hits the wall.
What are you talking about?
Bro, so Hamilton is driving. Remember, he's in the car and he checks his pocket for his cards, but he doesn't have his cards.
But that's
Hayes.
That's Hayes, not Hamilton.
bro, okay, check Hamilton also crashes. Can you check Hamilton crash in F1 movie? I was pretty sure Hamilton crashes right after JP has crashed. Like not
No,
immediately.
but not. That happened in the final race because JP and
No,
Hamilton crashed with
I
each
know
other.
what you're saying. I know in the final race they crash and then Hamilton, like he has to choose who will go forward and he's like, okay, I'll stay back, you go. And then Hamilton and what's his name? And Brad Pitt.
No, bro.
What are you getting so fussed up about?
Because that's not what happens.
Okay, let me say this.
Yes.
Let me say this. Final race,
Yes.
you have Hamilton first. You have Sunny and you have JP.
JP, yes.
JP and Sunny.
In that order.
Right, one of them has to go forward. Whoever will go, Hamilton can only block one of them.
Yes.
right?
Whoever will make
Makes
the
the
move,
first
Hamilton
move,
will
right?
block that guy and the other guy will have the overtake.
Right. What he says is, Brad Pitt is like, why don't I go? Right. So he goes, Brad Pitt. Then JP's gone first. Then JP and Hamilton crash, and
Yes.
then Brad Pitt goes and wins. Cool.
Exactly.
I'm saying there is a separate crash from those three happening and JP's accident. There is the crash when Brad Pitt comes and sits in his car and he checks, because he always races with a deck of cards that he's like throwing around pre-race. He checks his pants, but he doesn't have it, and then he's driving, and then his friend, who's the team principal, not the team principal, the owner, he's like, oh, this is not good. He's driving angry, and then he goes and
So
crashes.
it's not Hamilton. It's Sunny who crashes.
I said Brad Pitt crashes right after JP. That's what I was saying.
But you've been presenting it this whole
you-
time as Hamilton.
You kept saying Hamilton.
and that's when we were
Hamilton,
like,
Hamilton.
no, it was Hayes, not Hamilton.
Yeah.
But I agree
Yeah,
with
that's
you.
what
like,
I was. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, why are you talking? Like, there is no Hamilton crash.
Yeah.
Like,
So
Hamilton,
you didn't like the fact that Brad Pitt had a crashing scene right after
Right
JP had
after,
a
yeah,
crashing scene.
because it's like
That's
when you
fair.
have one crash scene, it's like, okay, you have impactful, but then another really big crash, it's
but
like,
he
okay.
doesn't have a really big crash. Like, he has a crash, but because he's driving angry, and then that's more of to show because,
Emotion
no,
and-
because he's got the medical issue, right?
To create the dynamic between the owner and him and
Yeah,
pull him out. But they could have done that just with the scene in the hospital. They never needed to institute the vision loss going into the final race. The vision loss was like, oh, he has this problem, but it never turned into anything.
That's more of like adding paprika to your soup. Is like he's gonna go for the race, and he's a medical risk.
But that should have
Yeah.
happened. Like that should have led to a crash earlier in the
No,
movie. Is what
no,
I'm saying.
because-
Instead, they just instituted it really
No,
late and
because he
didn't influence
doesn't-
anything.
It's because of the second crash he has that his issue surfaces again, right? And then it's like, okay, the last time we saw him in the car, he was not happy. He was driving angry, right? And now he's aggressively jumped back into the car. You see the concussion happen, and you're like, oh shit. But then he goes into flow state, right? In the final race, and that's the payoff.
Well, yeah, but the
Right?
problem is
No.
like there was no oh shit because you knew he was going to win the last race.
No, you don't know that.
The whole. Did
Like,
you not know he was going to win the last race?
Yeah, I thought JP would win the race. Like
they're
like-
gonna
No.
win the last
No,
race. I mean, of course
so-
he's gonna
no,
win
no,
the
no, no.
last
For
race.
me,
It's his
No, no, no.
redemption story.
no, but it's not.
We've said formulaic 12 fucking times.
But
Since. No, I've been
but-
counting.
But like
8?
No,
Wow, was
but,
I off by 2?
No,
Man, I need
You
to
said the
laugh
seventh
twice
one.
now.
Yeah.
Shit.
but that's to create the situation where they have the new tires. They're behind Lewis, right? And if you're like an F1 nerd, you have a more of like the dramatic understanding of that pit stops and Abu Dhabi and last lap overtake. But that's very irrelevant. That's like extra seasoning, which if you're a nerd you'll understand. Otherwise it's okay if you don't. But the bigger plot being he's in there. They start off as rivals, right? Where they're like, "What have you won? You don't know anything." He has no respect for him. He has no respect for him, right? Cut to this team that has never had a podium, whatever, needs a podium in their last race, but now they're about to win it. Right? Like 3 years, this has been a piece of shit team with 0 points. Now they're about to win a race. Right? So for me, that was the formulaic cheesy corny part. That I was like, whoa, he's been the bigger guy and he's playing the friendly mentor. Like he does in Monza, right? Where he's like, tell JP to do this, tell JP not to overtake now, tell JP to overtake then. But it's his cocky ego pride, right? Where he's like, if he's telling me I won't take.
Yeah, you're describing the formulaic
Yeah.
format of the movie.
So-
I'll rephrase my statement too.
so
When
like-
they first introduced his vision loss, I said to myself, that's not going to lead to anything because I don't feel like it fits into the ending they've been building into, right? Because they already had him crash out. Right? He was just coming from his crash out moment. So now they're adding in this extra stimulus that would make you think he's going to crash out. They added that stimulus. I didn't think it was going to lead to that.
No,
and then nothing came of it.
Even
so I just felt
don't-
like it was an
even
unnecessary
I don't think it's going
additive.
to lead to a crash. Like at no point am I thinking he's going to crash out. Like
So the vision loss
No.
didn't really add anything.
No.
Just in my opinion. I mean,
yeah,
it's
and for me it's just like an added kicker. Like I don't need a payoff on that. I'm just like, okay, he's going to be driving at 300 kph.
but it's like
with-
misdirection then.
No,
it's
not,
like
because
it's
he's driving with a concussion. How is that misdirection?
well the point I'm making is in a movie that has failed to add suspense around the racing, this felt like an attempt to add that suspense. But when they introduced it, my thought was, this isn't going to lead to any outcome.
Yeah, because your
and then it
understanding of the
didn't.
situation is if he has a concussion, if he's got a blurry vision, he must crash. But if he has a blurry vision, it means he has a concussion and he's going to race with a concussion. That's it. It's that simple.
And I didn't feel like that added any suspense into the final.
But it's not there to
final
add
scene.
suspense because they aren't adding a predisposition for a payoff. It's not. It's just an added, like you drive a car, you drive at 300 kph, you also have a concussion. That's it.
Yeah, so if you're saying as a way to add like an extra layer of depth into that,
Yeah, it's just like
interaction,
adding
totally.
one level of stake to it. It's not like he's gonna crash. It's like he's got blurry vision right now, and when you're driving, everything's a blur anyway.
I don't know.
Hence-
when I saw them
hence
do
the
that, I
flow
kind of
state,
just like rolled my eyes a little bit.
I
What do you
didn't
think?
even know he had bad vision until now.
Really? When he's
I had no mention of
When because he mentions in the hospital, he's like, you one more crash
He's
and you
old,
would have
dude.
lost your
I
eyesight.
just chalked it up to all like he's old, so he probably might have any issue. But
Yeah, exactly.
I
like,
didn't know any mention. I don't even know when they specifically mention the eyesight issue.
Right before the scene before, it was like when he was in the hospital and he pulls up the X-ray of his vertebrae.
Yeah,
and it's like
like-
one more
after the
crash
first
would have
crash.
caused you to lose your eyesight.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no memory of like, oh, this. I just know he goes to the hospital, he's back, he's racing again, as drivers do.
We've heard
I think you're on what I'm on, so go ahead.
number of gripes and pros. We need to talk about ratings. Rotten Tomatoes for
Ooh,
gripes and pros. Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, I'm thinking. I was literally thinking about the
Oh,
same
brother,
thing.
don't kill me.
Oh,
Hey.
Oh.
In between the scenes, behind the
yeah.
laptop.
It's been fun having you as a co-host. this
Fuck out.
This has been a great run. But yeah,
Great
okay.
drive.
What would you? How would you guys rate?
Audience critics.
First,
we do too.
First
Or-
critics, then audience.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the higher one, I would say critics were higher than audience.
Really, you think so?
Critics are higher
Yeah,
than audience.
critics give a higher rating than the audience did. Because the audience is going to be full of F1 nerds who are just going to complain and whine and bitch about
That's an
things.
interesting point, but it's also going to be full of a lot of like just Brad Pitt nerds. But I like your point about
Yeah,
F1 nerds.
no.
That would piss people off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
But are those going to be the same people who review a movie on Rotten Tomatoes?
No, they're the ones who like Comic Sans. Comic Sans?
Comic Sans is a
No,
font.
no.
Cinema Sins.
Cinema Sins.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Comic
yeah,
Sans.
yeah, yeah.
New YouTube channel.
Oh, that's an idea. New podcast. So you think critics are higher? What do you give them?
Critics would be like 84, 83%.
Audience?
74, 75.
84, 70.
That's a good split.
Yeah, it's not
Like-
bad.
That's usually how it goes for movies like this.
Yeah, because it's not a polarizing movie, right? So it's not that there's going to be a massive difference, but it's like when you look at it from a critic's point of view, like you said, formulaic, it checks all the boxes outside of having an adrenaline-filled race.
But you think that's going to lead to a better critic score?
Yes.
Interesting.
Because
I
critics
was thinking,
are like, oh, look at the
But because
cinematography.
for them, it's like, whoa.
I find critics go really high when they do something that's like, they're testing boundaries a little bit, when they're taking chances, when they do something that audiences won't like.
But those are polarizing films. So this is not a polarizing film at all. Like everyone's going to like the film. It's just how much do you like it? Do you find it mid? Do you love it? Or do you
And how good of a job do they produce something that kind of everyone's going to like?
Yeah, like it's just very like
and it fits more
How well
into
do they
the...
stay in their lane?
yeah.
Anyone?
That was
It's
good.
another driving joke.
Yeah. Over time you've done better. But I was gonna say this would be more of like a movie instead of a film.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing. What do you mean that this is a movie and that is a film?
I'll tell you. I think the biggest difference, I think you had said this, is like in a film, once you watched it, you're going to think about it and it stays with you for long. With the movie, it's like it's a closed premise that you're going into. You already know how it is going to go from here to here. And
Like
then you
Avatar.
have a story and then you're going to enjoy it. But there's no like everlasting...
So
thought.
that's not how cinephiles define it.
That's
so
okay.
I
Right?
attach for film more of like an art piece that's very focused on
The art.
And whatever it might
Right?
be, it might
Yeah.
be the focus of the writing or the emotion or the story or the
like
film
a Shutter
style.
Island or Inception.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
those
Or
are
you know,
films.
or Before Sunrise or before, any of those that's really story driven.
Yeah.
It really grips you in. Yeah. And they make an art piece.
And
out
then
of it.
Avengers is a movie.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah.
But then Avengers is like a movie made with the quality of a film.
No, but Avengers is based on your definition of film. Avengers has no afterthought. It is
But it has so many
Super-
layers into it for
So you're saying a film which is not layered is a movie?
No, I'm saying a movie is where I don't have to go in and use my brain at all.
So it's for entertainment.
Exactly. That's how I describe it. It's like, this is fun for me to watch. This is entertaining. If I have to sit down and think about the social politic structure of my country or something else while watching it and have to really connect the dots and be active, then it's like, oh, this is a film. The creator has made it in a way where they demand my attention, whereas a movie is like, this is what we made it, enjoy. Have go
That's
crazy.
I like that. Yeah, I think that's.
Plus, also, not a cinephile here.
What's your Rotten Tomato score?
Rotten Tomatoes, I know what it is. I was actually surprised how high the audience.
Don't tell me yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guess first.
So I was gonna guess 76, 8.
76, 81.
I was gonna go a little lower on the critics.
76?
Yeah.
Okay. So the critics gave it an 82
Whoa!
and audience gave it a 97.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Damn!
Yeah, dude.
Kicked my ass.
Dude, I don't know about you, but people were excited.
I'm totally okay with that rating distribution.
Yeah.
I think that's. I mean, I fucking loved the movie.
Yeah, like all of my non-F1 friends absolutely loved the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like the thing which made this movie so good was that it's an F1 movie that's not about F1,
Yeah.
right? It's just like
But I should still enjoy the races.
Yeah. And I think it's the thin line between that, making it for, say, like making it all about racing or making it all about the story. They found like somewhere in the middle for that, making it super realistic versus adding like
for me, it's zero about the racing and zero about, how we're talking initially about the technical aspect of F1. So like that's what I really enjoyed about the movie, right? Like they never got into, they're going into a qualifying session, they're now going into the race, right? Like this is a practice session, you have qualifying and points and all of those things, they never even talk about it, right? Like I love how the F1 world is just a fascinating premise,
yeah.
right? To
Agreed.
just tell the story about this guy who comes back, right, to help a friend out. Because you could tell the same message in a corporate setting, right? Like, okay, some businessman, he is fed up with the stock exchange, he was chilling out in the Bahamas, right? And his friend is like, brother, like I'm Steve Jobs, I got fired from Apple, so I need to start a new company. Okay, let's make Pixar, right? And then because it's a new company, the only coder I have is a 17-year-old nerd, right? And he's like, this kid's got no discipline. And then it's like, same story, same lack of faith and trust, and older generation, new generation. But then, eventually there's a moment of respect, and then there's bonding, and then, you win your race and you finally, get listed public. So it's like formulaic, right? Like the whole
11. I'm counting. You made me start counting, and it's annoying me that I'm counting it. Yeah, no.
Formulaic.
I was also reading
14.
about Gaujean.
Grosjean, yeah.
I remember the name.
Grosjean. That's how
Grosjean.
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 Grosjean. So his accident. He was the one whose like hands were on fire and everything.
Yeah, he fractured fingers, got second, third degree burns everywhere.
Yeah. Touch wood. He's well.
That's not
and
wood.
fine. That is wood.
Yeah.
Oh, you can touch my dick, dude.
It's that shitty IKEA composite.
So I saw the crash happen. Right? They cut off the feed. They show the footage again of what's happening. And you can see the front of the car is, how to put it? It's just lying separately. And the rest of the car is smashed into a steel barrier like this. Right?
I'm guessing like because F1 cars are like all like different pieces coming together. The front long thing would probably come out.
So you think the front wing would just detach?
No, the front long, like the chassis, Like,
Yeah, so exactly. The car is split into two like this, right? And with the halo protecting his head, the car has gone halo first into the barrier.
yeah.
And it's still like just a blazing inferno, right? No one can go in. There's fire extinguishers everywhere, but no one can still touch him. So it's like, if he's not out now, he's gonna die. Like, he's gonna burn to death,
Yeah.
right? And you need to imagine, like, as a driver, you've gone into head first, so crash, concussion, everything. Plus, you're like in a fireproof suit,
Plus at that
right?
speed.
No, at that speed, and you've got a seatbelt
Yeah.
just locked onto you, right? And you have to get out of that. You have to take the steering out because you can't get out of the car without removing the steering.
And everything's melting and
Right?
hot.
Everything's melting. Everything you touch is hot. Right? Like, everything's on fucking fire.
You're hot and you have
Right?
to, oh
Yeah.
man.
So, like, to deal with that,
I get really claustrophobic
the,
just thinking
have the
about it.
composure to unlock his belt. And Ayo Komatsu, who is now the team principal of Haas, he just did an episode on high performance, right? And he was talking about how he like, they didn't show it on the broadcast, and like anytime a car crashes, F1 TV will immediately cut the feed, but they at Haas obviously got all the footage. And then I was talking about how, everything Roma did was the right thing to do in that moment. And if he'd missed a single step, skipped anything, or taken too long,
Probably dead.
he would be dead. Like, he's like, it was literally a matter of, because the fireball was so big and so intense, if he was not out then, he would have just come out charred. Right? Because nobody was able to go in to save him even then. But he managed to get himself out and jump out of the car. Like, bro, watching that fucking inferno and then watching him jump over the barrier was absolutely insane.
So, Grosjean, the actor who plays JP,
Damson Idris.
Dabson Idris. Damson
Like,
Idris.
damn, son.
I probably need to start learning names.
Damn.
Yeah, I need to start learning names if I'm
Missed
going to do this.
opportunity.
But he spoke to Grosjean because the accident scene they did was kind of like they would try to copy
Based on that. Yeah.
based on that, and it's really cool because they first like just have like a car that gets thrown into a wall.
Yeah.
Then they have him go sit in a car and has his hand like this, and the car just keeps spinning.
Yeah.
So they take a shot of that, and then they have his whole suit wear like extra gloves and all, wear like petroleum jelly and like fire retardant liquid, and then just have his whole like hand and all burn like under supervision, and then they kind of compile each of it together and then make it. So it's like really cool that they were able to kind of like, when you see there, especially that scene that you're far away and then you just see that curb is a little bit propped up.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, does that happen often?
Monza.
No.
Yeah, like cars flying. Yes.
No, but also like the track having issues that cause crashes.
No, so, but it's like Canada has the Wall of Champions, right? Because the curbs are designed such that if you come in too fast, your car bounces off both the curbs then. Right? Because it's not a hairpin, right? It's a 90 right and a 90 left. Right? So when you have to do a 90 left and 90 right, coming in with your DRS open, you're, going from like 300 to like 180, cutting right, cutting left, and then full sending again. So you have such limited room that it does throw you off. Like, that's why Max ended up on top of Hamilton's car in Monza in 2021, right? Because he clipped the wheel and
in
on top.
terms of like safety, I mean, if technology is getting better, I'm guessing they're getting the cars safer.
Cars is super safe. Like, it is
Especially those like derby cars. No, not derby cars. What are they?
rally cars.
Rally cars. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever seen the one where they fly off the fucking
WRC,
cliff and
yeah.
they're just the
Yeah,
car is
no.
just-
The, like,
and they're
yeah,
just still.
those
Those are like crazy
the-
tire grips and suspension.
No. Yeah, so for WRC, it's the chassis. The driver's chassis is so like locked in with like reinforced bars that
Hmm.
you could take him at any speed and throw him anywhere outside of basic momentum. He's not going to go into a crazy rollover and get thrown around everywhere
Yeah.
because that seat he's sat on, so he's absolutely glued to that seat, and that seat is absolutely hooked and glued to the
Frame.
bar
Yeah.
frame. F1 security is very different because you've got a rollover hoop,
Hmm.
right? So when the car flips, that's in contact.
Oh, is that on the back?
That's the weird cone-like thingy which comes out of the rear suspension,
Ah.
right? Which is a stick like
I
this.
always thought it was like the antenna
Yeah,
that you have
no.
like on regular cars.
No, that's called a rollover hoop.
Roll over.
So it's basically designed to ensure that if your car flips on like this, it'll just flip back on, right? So you aren't stuck like flat on your all the way upside down.
Sideways, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
So
upside
To,
down.
to your question, have you seen those self-balancing motorcycles with the gyroscope in the middle?
No.
They go into a crash and they start to turn over and they just boom, immediately they self-balance and they'll save the crash like it and snap
And,
right back into place.
Is there like overcorrection?
No,
No?
it's got a gyroscope. So if you've ever seen one of those things that
Yeah.
are moving kind of like this, it go into a crash and it'll start to slip out and the bike will just send itself
Oh,
right
sick.
back to straight. It's the most amazing fucking thing.
And is that what they're using in like bike racing?
MotoGP?
So I don't actually know if those
like,
are
for-
included
no,
in
what-
those bikes,
what-
but this
no.
is just like
What
consumer,
they have in-
consumer
Oh, okay,
technology,
okay.
What
and
they have in
consumer bike.
MotoGP is now inflatable suits. So
Yeah,
like,
those are
Yeah.
fucking wild.
Oh, those
Yeah,
are
They
cool.
turn,
immediately the suit just
Yeah.
blows up and then they're a ball.
their suit blows up. That doesn't sound good for the rider.
And then
Yeah.
they're a bomb.
Ah,
Yeah.
boom.
So adding on to safety, right? The Halo is absolutely insane, right? You can an F1 car could now fall on top of an F1 car and no damage.
When was the
2019.
2019? Because earlier they didn't have this
No,
like.
2019 Halo was introduced, and I remember like Mercedes being a big advocate against it. But
Yeah.
if they didn't have the Halo, Max's car would have fallen on Lewis's head,
Yeah.
right? So that was a horrible
Oh
crash.
man,
And
some of the crashes. So one other thing apart from science of it, I love crashes in F1. I love like the wipeouts and stuff, and because cameras that F1 uses as a league is also like so good. So you see them in like slow motion and there's like debris from the car that is hitting
Yeah,
the other driver, and then the tire, which is heavier than I am, just bouncing on the body of the car and then bouncing off.
yeah, and it's just like carbon fiber flying everywhere,
yeah.
right? And yeah, especially now with barge boards coming back in. Oh,
There's a side thing. on
yeah,
the-
like barge boards lead to so many tire punctures because God.
yeah,
even
even the new front wing design is so sharp, edgy, pointy.
yeah.
But it's like you clip wheels and tire wear.
So,
all right, guys. So we've rated this movie from a Rotten Tomatoes guess.
Yeah.
What do you give it?
What do I give it?
What are we rating on?
Your personal
Yeah.
No, like rating on
1 out of
5,
10.
10.
1 out of
10?
10.
10. And I use decimals.
I'd go 7.58. 8. Like, it's a good movie.
That's a solid score.
That's a solid score.
Sparse rates very harshly.
Yeah, like,
sometimes.
I wouldn't give it a 9.7. Much like the
No,
audience.
no, fuck that.
Like,
For me to go above, to me to even get in the range of 9, fuck, it's gonna
Yeah.
be insane. What was the one we did? Oh yeah, we did National Treasure.
Yeah.
You give National Treasure 9?
No, I think I gave what I give it an 8.5.
Yeah, you
even?
did 8.5. I did.
Yeah, 0.5
I've
for
done,
nostalgia.
Wally, which is 9, and I did Back to the Future, which is the 9.5.
Wow, that's.
Yeah. Also deserving.
What
it
did,
is in
what
my
did you
opinion.
give? What did you give the Holmes and Watson?
Holmes and Watson 7 or 6.
No, you gave it better than that.
No, it is 6 or 7.
Really?
Even
Yeah.
Back to the Future is such a your cup of tea movie or not, because
Yeah.
Some people really dislike it, and they're like, it makes no sense.
I don't
It's
like
interesting
those
what you said about the
people.
not a wasted moment, because my dad, the first time I ever heard that concept, he was talking about Back to the Future. He said it's a perfect movie for him because there's never a moment in that movie where he's not happy.
And it keeps you engaged. Like a good movie, just
Yeah,
keeps you like.
right. Like,
And that's where I love doing this podcast because it makes me watch all these movies with like a new perspective. And it's really making me look at like, because there are so many things coming in to make a movie, like which thing has like more weightage on making a good movie. And
oh, you missed that whole conversation Ollie and I were literally having about what makes a movie good or bad.
yeah, and so that is my pursuit with this podcast, is to like find that out, but there's no simple answer. But
Because, oh, go ahead.
but I've always found like having good writing is, at least right now what I've landed on is like having, you can have the world's best actors, but if you don't have good writing in the movie, the which leads to like a good story, and not really just like, oh, this is a nice story, I like to see this or hear about this, but a story that keeps you connected and engaged all throughout.
Yeah. So, in order to keep you connected, you need a good actor. No matter how good the writing is, if the actor is not good, they will ruin a good script.
And vice versa. I think it's like, but also like, yeah, I don't know. I think like a bad actor can take me out of it, but you need to have a
But what
movie
about
of only
animated
bad
movies?
actors.
What
Pardon?
about
Sorry,
animated movies?
sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut your point off.
Totally
But
fine. Animated movies.
in animated movies, you don't really have an actor.
But you have performers. Like, why do you think motion capture is such a big thing? Even if it is just to, have 50 track
Okay,
marks.
let's go back.
You get a bad animation.
Pre-motion capture animation, 2008s.
Okay, sure.
They didn't really have facial expression as deep as
Like
we do
WALL-E?
today. WALL-E's a great example. It's just about a robot, just has those two binocular eyes that
Yeah.
create such an impact.
Yeah.
Eve 2, yeah.
I do agree. I
But,
think you're
but,
onto
but like,
something.
again, in that script of WALL-E, if you look at it, it's a very basic script.
But
Right? What really sells WALL-E is the sound design and the world build.
But it's
right?
also the dialogues and the emotion, and it's not just like, okay,
But the thing is, there is no dialogue, right? Because it's WALL-E, Eva,
yeah,
WALL-E,
agreed.
right? So there is no
But the
dialogue.
way those dialogues are,
Again, but it's no longer the dialogue, right?
but it is somebody who has written that, okay, for the first 23 minutes of a movie, I'm not going to use a single dialogue. And then I'm going to make this a post-apocalyptic robot fall in love.
Yes.
Right? So now it doesn't, like, I know it plays a huge role on who comes and delivers those dialogues. And the reason I used animated pictures was like, oh, because you don't have a human face, but you all still are able to feel all those human emotions. So I don't need a human to come and give me human feelings. I can have that from like an animation robot.
That's also going to get really carried out by, I think, like score is going to
Yeah,
really
like,
carry
100%.
there.
Score
Yeah.
is a huge
So,
part.
so again, right? Which is why then, and this is really a never-ending debate, right? Because it's like,
Yeah.
what makes a movie? Is it the script? Is it the actor? Is it the director? Is
Yeah.
it the cinematographer? Is it the sound designer? Is it the composer? Is it the production designer?
So I think like and I agree with you, and to what you said about like the difference between like bad writing and bad acting. I feel like you can still have a good movie with some bad actors in there, because there can be a lot of other elements that are well done and dragging it along. But if you have a movie with bad writing, it's near impossible to make it a good movie.
True.
Right. And so I agree with you on the point, like writing really plays a significant role in the overall quality of any film, regardless of the other parts in play.
Yeah. No, so like that's why like film is so layered and so complicated and so collaborative that you really need 50 different arrowheads all in the same direction aimed at the same point. And you can tell when you watch a movie, you can tell how much of a collaboration this was, and how much of this was not a collaborative
Yeah,
event
it
where,
feels disconnected.
where it's like the actor can feel disconnected from the director, they can feel disconnected from the words they're saying, they can feel disconnected from their scene partners. Like two actors together could have no chemistry. They could be the most amazing actors, but together they don't work as a couple.
Right. And
right?
then that brings me to like, oh, maybe casting directors are the most
so
important people.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like casting, right? Like what was that show slash movie we were watching, and every time that actor would come up, and I'm like, I just really dislike that actor.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right?
Yeah.
With one of the
She's so bad.
Inquisitors. Right?
That's how I felt with what's that name? The Percy Jackson show.
Yeah, like it's so there's no
One answer.
there's no exactly like there's no shortage of resources, right, for Percy Jackson, but the end product is so poor. And now they're about to do Aragon, like they're really working
Are
on
they?
developing Aragon now at Disney Plus, and
Wait, like a live action?
yeah, like a live action TV series.
I'm so
right,
stoked on that.
and yeah, now again I pray and
That's
hope
the
because
best news.
Yeah.
having seen the first two seasons of Percy Jackson, I really want to, like
Cancel
claw my
Disney.
eyes out at the fact that those horrible, horrible, horrible movies which came out 15 years ago were better.
Yeah. It makes you really
Right?
like, oh, we had it
Yeah,
so
it
good.
makes you appreciate like mid work so much more. And like that's the biggest reason for like cinema revisionism right now is like content today is so poor and pathetic
Yeah.
that everyone's just nostalgic because when I was growing up as a teenager, there were over 10 different TV shows which were running live every year that I was actively watching,
True.
right? White Collar and Two and a Half Men and Big Bang Theory and Vampire Diaries and Suits and How I Met Your Mother,
All
And-
bangers as
right?
well.
All phenomenal shows. And other people liked other shows, but there was such a wide variety of quality. Right now, if you ask me, hey, Sahil, what are the 5 sitcoms going on right now? I don't know.
I heard an interesting line of commentary on that, which is not necessarily that we get less quality films in a given year, but we're exposed to so much more bullshit and we're consuming so much more just because of our access to things through different streaming platforms.
Okay, yeah, I would like to hear your opinion on this too, because I don't think last year we had
No,
a good contribution.
I don't think we've had good movies in a long time.
right. It's
Right? Like,
it's been like 4-5 years that we've had.
But that's a really perfect example. How because of the internet, because of access to different social media platforms and an individual's ability to go viral, as well as all the access they have to technology to be able to either learn instruments or produce their own music, the amount of people that are out there that are making like really good quality products, right? Or like, say for example, I was talking to Mike about this the other day with rap. There are so many young talented rappers
But
out there
the-
who have been studying.
I might be wrong about this, but I was reading about this. But the current conversation is that rap is dying.
So but there's a lot more people who
There
are
are a lot more
talented
people doing it, but
rappers.
that does not mean that there are better outputs coming out.
But to finish
Yeah,
my point,
go ahead.
there are more quality rappers today than there were 10 years ago.
no.
So, but
Are you telling me?
allow me to finish my point.
Okay, sure.
Allow me to finish my point. Not to the same scale. I mean, but going back to just music in general, there are so many more people that are able to create and produce. And what will come from that is just in the scale of production. If, say, 10% of all things that get produced, since there is more produced, or are really quality, since there's now more produced, there are now more really quality things. But there's also way more shitty things. If we're absorbing more and more and more, we're more and more exposed to the shitty things.
So
But there are more
no,
needles
okay,
in the
so-
haystack
no,
as
so-
a whole.
So what I'm trying to say is, if back in the day there were 100 artists putting out an album every year, 30 of them were great.
Yeah, because the
Wait,
only ones that were
no,
getting
now-
sponsored
now
and
let
getting
me
record
finish,
deals
right?
were ones who were
No.
good enough. were ones who were getting contracted. People have their own avenues. There are streaming sites who are making their own films, right? You don't need to have a Hollywood studio or get a contract from Paramount. There are more of these independent places that are able to greenlight projects, and in those, we get quality
Okay.
projects. We get a lot of shitty ones
No,
too.
that's so off with where Hollywood is right now, that more independent projects get greenlit, where independent projects are dying. Like the whole industry is dying. People are leaving the industry
For
because
Hollywood, but because there are so many other independent institutions.
no, that what
Disney
other
Plus, Netflix, Amazon,
that is
Apple, every
Hollywood.
single one of them are
That
making their
is
own
Hollywood.
films. What about
No.
independent student
Oh,
films?
bro,
What about
that's
what
so
about film
fucked.
festivals?
No, that's so fucked.
independent
because-
filmmakers.
No, bro, that's totally. 15 years ago, we had more independent production companies. Over the last 5 years, ever since COVID, most of those production companies have been bought over by other production companies. As a result of which, now, instead of having 10 production companies who are actually creating independent quality content, you only have 4 studio execs. And MGM is going to Amazon, and Warner Brothers is now going to go to Netflix. Right? Imagine all of Warner Brothers' business model changes to the Netflix model. Right? They still want to do 45-day theatrical windows, whatnot. But overall production is shrinking, right? We don't do 24 episode seasons anymore.
I don't
Right?
think we're capable of watching full movies nowadays.
Again, right? Like writers and
In the last 2 years, there have been 7,000 more independent production companies added to the United States.
brother, I could add 3 independent production companies to myself right now. So that makes no difference. I have directing, producing credits, right? But those actually don't account for anything. Right? If I have a movie screened in any one festival, that gets counted as an independent production, but it doesn't really contradict, and that's not what my point
So,
was initially.
but where do you land on this?
Where do I land? Oh, I think that is the theory. That's how theory would work. I don't think that's the actual fact of it. That even when we have more people making it, it's just saturation of more bad content than any possibility of better content.
But even with that, you don't think the raw number of quality content that is getting produced in a year is
on
higher?
physical paper, on raw numbers, sure. But if it is like for me to imagine, like say even like 5 years ago, that's a good map to imagine like trends of like in industry. If 5 years ago you asked me if the movies we have today are good and fun and I would want to watch, and I would say not even like great movies or films, but like just movies, entertainment has dropped a lot. And I would say it goes against the theory where theoretically, because one is rising, then the small number of these people that would be coming out with better films would also increase. So you would have
Yeah,
theoretically more
like
good
that-
movies,
yeah.
but
See these products come
Yeah.
out. They're half-assed and
they're
yeah.
impolished.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
They're
unpolished, yeah.
unrefined. And what's pissing me off watching these movies is
They're
become
formulaic.
even worse. I would love that. I actually, for a change, would love that.
Yeah.
But what's happening is they're costing more and more to make without
getting less and less
having
than-
like the work. So it's like if
Because
you take
everything is so inflated,
Yeah,
bro. Like
I think that's a
it's like
reasonable
because
point.
they're making less, then the gear rental house wants to charge more.
Yeah.
The VFX studio wants to charge more. Right? Everyone, like today, as an independent filmmaker, I need to pay the city $2,000 just to shoot anywhere on city property.
yeah,
Right? 20 years ago, you could pretty much fuck around and shoot anywhere.
yeah,
Right? So it's like, again, bureaucracy gets added, right? So, plus the thing is, nobody wants to take risks anymore, right?
True.
Everyone wants a guarantee first. Earlier, you could have a good script and get greenlit for a project. Earlier, if you directed a short which went to festivals, you could go pitch a feature to a studio. Today, you need to have directed a feature in order to be able to even engage in conversation. With the studio,
conversation. Yeah.
right? So
I was watching some director talk about like, because earlier what you were saying that you start with like doing your independent work, do your short films, and then you'll get some money to do like a feature length independent film, and then you get a studio. And that's kind of how it's been for all these, like Christopher Nolan, all of them. It's not like the first movie they got, they were like, oh, we did like
Yeah.
with Marvel, or we did it with Disney, or
But that's also a new thing that started happening now, because like these studios, like just out of straight nepotism, there's like big projects going to absolutely inexperienced, unqualified people.
yeah, because the people who are now working at the studio, it's like, say there is no work in Vancouver. Now I finally found work, and they're getting one more person. Now, will I get the best person to do that job, or will I get, say, Sahil or you, who I know and could use a job? Right? So I'll probably get my friends and family. And obviously, there's so many layers into it that get involved about like how and who's being chosen to do it. At the end of the day, I'm just a viewer. All I care about is that the time that I am giving to you
Make it
in the
worth it.
transaction, make it worth it. Right? And when it's not, then don't like double down and get on a high horse like, oh, it's so struggling and we did our best. If you did your best,
It's
you
like,
won't
oh, people
Yeah.
just aren't coming out to the
No,
theaters
yeah.
anymore. It's
Because
like,
bro,
yeah.
it's like, you know, people say people don't go to theaters anymore, but I'm like,
give them a reason.
no, I'm like, people don't work like people anymore.
Hmm.
Right? You used to go to the theater with your friends, right? Anytime randomly, hey bro, do you wanna go watch a movie? Yeah, bro, let's fucking go. Right? Four of you are going on a Sunday to watch some movie in the afternoon. Right? Kids are going, couples are going on dates.
Now
Right?
it's empty.
Bro,
and it costs $50
No,
dollars for a
because,
ticket and a
bro,
popcorn.
today it's like it's impossible to plan something with your friends, right? Like, so it's like the social struggles then bleed out into, you know, life everywhere, right? Like people just don't hang out that much anymore because everyone's so lost in hustle and grind.
And what they're doing in the meantime is they're watching shit.
Yeah, freaking
They're like,
brain
I don't
rot.
want to sit down and watch half an hour of like character
They should be
development.
watching our podcast.
Bro, you won't
instead.
believe this. Like the number of people who
Number one film
like the
podcast
number
in the
of people
world.
who said this, right? That we've been told by studio execs during a pitch that please dumb it down.
Yeah, that's
Right?
so
Like
fucking
dumb down your
terrible.
freaking show, dumb
It's
down
so
your
fucking
movie.
terrible.
Like, you know, don't be so fast paced, technical, so detail oriented that the audience who is halftime on their phone forgets what's happening on the movie.
Yeah.
Right? And like as a filmmaker, you're like, I want to kill myself. Right?
Yeah.
Like what the fuck do you
Yeah.
Bro, why do you think verticals have gone from $1 billion to a 2 billion to a 4 billion to 11 billion in 4 years?
Because
Right?
it's short
Like,
form.
1 to 11 in
Short form.
4-5 years. Like how do you grow tenfold?
And for exactly that reason, I have also started making short form clips for the podcast and started posting them.
Good job.
And yeah, to summarize, I think the best way I would put in my perspective with things is I don't know what goes into making a good movie, but I can very clearly see
What's
what
it
makes
not-
it a bad movie.
Yeah.
Right? And
but anything can make a movie bad. Like you could have great everything. If the sound is bad, you won't like it. If the color grade, if everything is great but the color grade is off, you'll be like, what is happening, right? If just the writing is off, then you're like, wow, I have Robert Downey Jr., but you know he's talking out of his ass, right? And then it's like if you,
Or it's cast with Keanu Reeves.
I mean,
I
that's
hate
always
Keanu
right.
Reeves.
It's and you know like
I'm
sometimes
gonna kill your dog and see how you like
sometimes you just have to own it, right? Like if you look at a movie like The Expendables, right? We just owning it, right? Like it's not about the plot, it's not about the story, it's about all your favorite action heroes on one screen at the same time, right? That is the experience we are selling. Not a film, a movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
An entertaining experience. Don't come here complaining about how there were plot holes and plot armor. Don't tell me why this was happening, that was happening. Right?
I mean, I'm still gonna complain about that shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? No matter what you do, you'll always find some whingy
Yeah,
cunt
but,
to complain
you know,
about.
we just had this whole conversation about like in speaking of quality, it's in the, and I think one of the things I love about this podcast and the ways we pick it apart and then we rate it at the end, it's like it's I hope to go into any movie in the search of a movie that does all of these things as well as they can. And sometimes, like with The Expendables, yeah, I just want a shitty fucking shoot 'em up and I don't care about the plot holes. I can be okay watching Avatar because it's more about the visual experience than it is the story. But if you can give me Avatar with a good story, that's fucking mind blowing, right? And those come around once in a decade, right? So anytime I watch a movie, I sit down, I say, I hope this is a good one.
Okay,
right?
okay. What kind of movies would you even describe at that level?
The Interstellar, great. You
Oh,
mentioned
man,
Shutter
yeah, that's a
Island,
great
great. You can, you know,
Get Out.
uh,
So thrillers, basically.
no, not necessarily thrillers.
Doesn't have to be.
Even let me
The
give
Blind
you
Side.
Blind Side is
That's
good.
great. Moneyball.
Moneyball is a fantastic.
Fantastic
Also, by the way,
fucking movie.
Brad Pitt is the only guy who's acted in the two best sports movies.
National Treasure.
National Treasure.
No
great
plot
story,
holes in that one.
Right? Keeps you engaged.
See, my
Keeps me
point is,
engaged.
if
There is no
No.
movie that will do everything.
Goodwill Hunting.
no, exactly. So my point. That's what I was trying to say. That if I have to find flaws, right? If I want to be a whiny cunt, I can find flaws.
Oh,
in
shit.
flaws in anything.
So that is the biggest problem we have as viewers today is everybody wants to be a critic.
Exactly.
And everybody is like,
Right.
everybody in the world is dumbfounded
No.
and does
It's
not know.
it's not even that.
I know it. And so
People are consciously just looking for things to pick at,
yeah.
right?
And I
So-
blame cinema sins. I said it right this time. I hate cinema sins.
No, it's
I
not
love
even.
cinema.
It's not even about cinema because they don't care so much about picking at the movies as much as they care about how that traction clickbait will make them lots of dollars.
Yeah.
Right. That's what they care about. So they will say anything and everything
Yeah.
they have to say,
Yeah.
which will bring in the most number of dollars for them. That is their priority.
I'm just gonna defend CinemaSins purely for the sake of like out of respect for the guy. I think he's been doing this for like 10 years and he does it so fucking well. I think he has turned that into like his thing in his art form. But yes, just out of defense for CinemaSins because I love CinemaSins, but there are so many fucking people who do
like,
exactly what
that's
you
the
just
thing,
said.
right? No,
And I agree. I think
like,
that's a problem.
No, but it's because as humans, when we find people shitting on people, we find it entertaining. Okay, like
Schadenfreude.
just as humans, like
Yeah.
they love the sensation of empowerment and power it gives them. So,
Not all humans.
So it's like there's so many movie critics, and you can criticize a film, right? Everyone has the right to criticize films, but the thing is, all of these movies you mentioned, there are definitely things worth criticizing, right? There's definitely plot holes, continuity errors, this, that. So it's like there is no right answer, right? Like people say, films have a formula. There's an act one, act two, act three. You introduce someone, you show the conflict, you show the resolution. You create a predisposition, you give them a payoff, right? Formula. But it doesn't matter because you could make a film which follows the absolute formula and it could be a fucking piece of shit. And you could make a film which is absolutely off formula and people will fucking love it.
And you could call it Formula One.
Right?
Oh wait, no, that was on Formula.
Like it won't make sense why people are loving it, right? It won't have great character development, anything, but it'll have a vibe.
Yeah.
Right? It will make people care. It'll make people talk about it.
Yeah.
Like The Room.
Room is such a great example.
I mean,
but
I still
won't-
never seen it, but
I won't dive into it right now. But we don't have films that become references in our conversations anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Like we grew up watching movies with iconic quotes and dialogues.
Yeah.
Eh,
And the
like-
cliche of the
like-
cliches
Like
thing.
the last movie I could
it
quote.
died with The Hangover.
No, like the last movie I could quote is "I am Iron Man." That is literally the last thing I can quote to the point where if I say I am Iron Man, anybody on the fucking street knows what I'm talking.
Yeah.
Whether you're a Marvel fan,
baby.
whether you're a DC
There's
fan.
so much room for
Yeah, bro,
activities.
like
Yeah.
90s, 2000s, full of punchlines, bro. Like my generation grew up watching those movies
Yeah.
and we converse in punchlines, right? Like freaking what's Al Pacino saying? It's all in the eyes, Jacko.
Yeah.
Right? Like you just know.
Yeah. Did you score?
I didn't. So
you
I think that's a good place to kind of bring it all around.
Yeah.
Good times. I'm gonna give this a 7.5.
7.5.
7.5. Question for you, I guess, to just like set up like the upcoming season if you can in a few short
Oh.
sentences.
Like, what do you mean?
You know, when is it starting? What's the new things?
So new generation of cars. Starting next month, we have 2 test weekends lined up in Bahrain right now.
Mhm.
New teams coming in, right? Like there's some big guns on the grid like Cadillac and Audi who are joining us. New engines and new chassis. So new everything is new, right? Overtaking mechanisms are new. Horsepower and energy deployment have become a massive piece of the new reg. They've gotten away with a lot of the annoying habits of the last generation of cars with the bouncing and the ground effect tunnels.
The purple
So-
and C.
So it's going to be a lot more of, high rake cars with higher rear axles.
Yeah.
And yes, battery is going to be big. And right now you have no idea who's going to be good, but looks like Mercedes. I hope it's
Mercedes. Is that the team you're going with, or you're
Ferrari.
sticking to
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton?
Yeah, till he's there, then I'll be back at
Lewis
Mercedes.
Hamilton. Do you want to pick a random theme for this season?
I'm all in for Verstappen.
Verstappen?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good bet,
Oh,
man. I
that's-
fucking love that guy.
I'm a total. I mean, I know nothing about the sport, but I just have a lot of respect for anyone who is just in the realm of greatness, and he
Yeah.
really does seem to be someone who is just that much better than everyone else.
Do you-
So I respect the hell out of that.
His
Like, I am
thing
the
ever.
biggest Max Verstappen hater, but my admiration and respect for his absolute monstrous determination and focus is like he's like, I'm just the best,
Yeah.
and I will be the best.
And those are the people who really show, like, you have talent on one side, and then you just have
Yeah.
like fucking
Like-
determination.
like he's
weird.
he's got his own quirks and whatnot, but he is someone who loves and breathes racing. Like when he is not racing an F1 car, he is sim racing, right at 3 a.m. in online lobbies like a nerd. He is going and doing GT racing and racing different series at Nürburgring and whatnot. So yeah, he's just absolutely obsessed with being behind the wheel and just being the best.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I think we know what's up for the next whole year. Before we wrap up, thank you for joining
Yeah.
us, blessing us
Yeah.
with
The knowledge.
you're my brother. I don't want to be too nice.
We changed things about this podcast, and so because of that, it was a little less formulaic. It's the last
Yeah.
one. What's our count, Sparsh?
13.
No, it's we're like 18. At
I
this point.
didn't even want 18.
18,
We've
we
used
got it.
formula a lot
I
of
threw
times.
some in there.
Not formula.
No, I threw some formulaics in there. That's
Without
19.
counting?
Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Damn. It's okay. I'm just
At
gonna
this point,
beep
it's
them
getting
out.
pretty formulaic.
I'm just gonna beep them out and be like, he said
That's
the
20.
R word. This movie was so.
There's way more syllables in that. All right, I think that's a wrap.
Cool.
Let's
Adios,
put the brakes on it.
muchachos.
Let's turn off the engines.
Why don't you go crash?
I'm tired.
Get wrecked.
Get it? Let's steer it in another direction.
Go ahead and pit stop.
Let-